this cyclical behavior of the economy has been explained that the economic variables in economy are rolling ups and downs, and their fluctuations, uh, fluctuations of economic variable is responsible for the cyclical behavior. First of all, we can ask ourselves what are the economic variables which are going ups and downs. These economic variables are like GDP growth or yeah, profit of entrepreneur or employment or we can say wages. We can say the consumption expenditure, the savings, the investment, the interest. Okay. All these economic variables, uh, which are sometime going up and sometime going down. Okay. Specifically in third paragraph, you can see here they have mentioned some economic variables like production, investment, employment, credits, prices, and wages. Now, these economic variables are fluctuating with respect to time. Okay. Like share market is fluctuating with respect to time. Sometimes share market goes up and sometimes it goes down. Likewise, these economic variables are also sometimes goes up and sometimes goes down. And the most popular variable to capture this cyclical behavior of the economy is employment. That sometimes we observe the economy is getting getting uh, job is not a difficult task. Okay, this time is of the or upward trend in the economy when everyone is getting employed. But when but sometime we find getting an employment is very difficult given existing employed people under private sector are especially worried for their jobs. There is a threat to their job in the private sector especially, and that is what is not expected. And this is a very bad phase we have. And this bad phase, when there is a more possibility to lose existing employment, and there is a very less possibility to get a new employment. This type of phase in the economy is a downward trend in the economy. When when everywhere you will find there is a bad news about the economy. Economy might come under the crisis. Okay, and this type of this type of situation in the economy is called as recession. It's called as recession. Okay, and when the recession becomes more deeper, when the recession goes below certain level, then it becomes depression. Then it becomes depression. So the journey of contraction or falling down from peak to trough. I repeat, the journey of contraction of your economy from peak as recession and depression, and the journey of expansion from trough to peak. The journey of expansion from trough to peak is called as recovery and prosperity. Is called as recovery and prosperity. And this is what the theory of business cycle is. Okay. Uh, the average of these fluctuations is called as a steady growth line. I repeat, the average of these fluctuations is called as steady growth line. The above average in the contraction above average period is called as recession, and the below average period is called as depression. And in expansion, the above average period is called as prosperity, and the below average period is called as recovery. This is what we learn from the diagram. These are the phases of business cycles: expansion, peak, and after peak, downturn, which is a recession. After recession, the bottom is trough, and after trough, we have the recovery. We have the recovery. Okay. So here in detail, expansionary phase is explained. Here the peak is explained. The recession is explained. What is happening in that? The trough is been explained. Okay. Recovery. All these phases one by one has been explained. Okay. What has been explained in the expansion? What has been explained in the expansion? The line of cycle that moves above the steady growth line represent the expansion phase of business cycle. In the expansion phase, there is an increase in various economic factors such as production, employment, output, wages, profit, demand, supply of products, and sales. So everything is moving upward. Everything means all economic variables are moving up. In addition, what we find is production, factor of production, the prices of factors of production, as well as the output is increasing simultaneously. Okay. Debtors are generally in good financial condition to repay their debts. Therefore, creditor lend money at higher rate of interest. This leads to increase in flow of money. So the flow of money, so in the production houses, production of goods and services, the flow of money is also adequately liquidate. This adequate liquidity into the market is further smoothing the expansionary phase. In expansion phase, the increase in investment opportunities, idle funds of organization or individual are utilized for various investment purposes. So, therefore, in such a case, the cash flow outflow, inflow and outflow of cash of businesses are equal. This expansion continues till the economic conditions are favorable. So, till the economic conditions are favorable, this expansion is continued. Now, the peak, the growth in the expansion phase eventually shows down and reaches it to its peak. Okay, peak is the topmost point of the business cycle phase. This phase is known as the peak. In other words, peak phase refers to the phase in which the increase in growth rate of business cycle achieves its maximum limit. In peak phase, the economic factors such as production, profit, sales, employment are higher, but do not increase further. In peak phase, there is a gradual decrease in the demand of various products due to increase in prices of output, prices of input. So peak phase is the highest phase beyond which there is no growth. It's a maximum limit phase where the all production all the very economic variables like profit, sales, employment already reach at the topmost point. And here the income of the individual remain the constant. The increase in the prices of input leads to increase in price of final product. This also leads to consumer to restructure the money budget as the demand for products such jewelry, homes, automobile, refrigerator, and other durable start falling. Now, recession. As discussed earlier, in peak phase, there is a gradual decrease in the demand of various products due to increase in the prices of input. When the decline in the demand of products becomes rapid and steady, is recession phase such as production prices start decreasing. Generally, producers are unaware of decrease in the demand of products and they continue to goods and services. In such a case, the supply of products exceeds the demand. Okay. So here in recession, it has been explained that everything is start decreasing. All the economic factors that we have mentioned above, they are starting falling down. Now, producers are unaware of this decrease. That is what is important. That producers are not able to detect this decrease in the demand of products, and they continue to produce goods and services. And they are producing excessive goods and services which are not going to be absorbed in the market. So over the time, producers realize the surplus of the supply when the cost of manufacturing of the product in that is more than the profit generated. Now, this condition firstly experienced by few industries and slowly spread to all industries. Now, once we notice it, okay, once the producers start noticing it, then what happens? Then already the problem has been escalated, and because of this late noticing, the producers avoid any type of further investment in the production, such as the labor, machinery, and furniture. So the demand for factors of production becomes stuck, and it leads to the reduction in the factor prices, which result in the decline of demand of input as well as that. So because of this, the factor production demand become less. Trough. Uh, Trough is the bottom point. Now, what happens at the bottom point? So, when there is a reduction in the factor prices, reduction in the output, then ultimately the reduction in the future investment projects, and the savings and income, etc., etc. That continues. Now, trough is the bottom point of that bad phase. During the trough phase, the economic activity of country declined below the normal level. In this phase, the growth rate of economy becomes negative. In addition, in trough phase, there is a rapid decline in the national income and expenditure. Okay, so I just wanted to explain while this for the economic student, business cycles are a very common topic in the macroeconomics. Because, say, for example, in when the subprime crisis was emerged in 2008 in USA, so during the time of subprime crisis, the subprime crisis was spill over all across the world financial market. Okay, but Indian economy was also somewhat affected by this subprime crisis, but not much. Why? Because our economy is a financially strong, more stable, because the savings that we are the majority of investment or the liquidity which is coming into the bank, that is out of savings and not out of the borrowed investment. Okay, so that is why we saved our economy from external shock, which was the subprime crisis. But during that phase, it has been discussed in the on the intellectual table that whether the economy is facing recession, because already there was fall in the economic growth rate, continuously fall in the economic growth rate. So the government officials, even the RBI officials, they were discussing on the whether the Indian economy has gone into recession or not. But they confirmed that Indian economy has not gone into the recession, because what is the definition of recession? Definition of the recession is your economy should at least month negative economic. Economic growth rate was negative, was not negative. It fell down from 7% 5%, 5 to 4.5%. So it was a positive economic growth rate. So what is recession? Recession means your economy is falling down. It means last year economic growth rate was 4%. Now this time the economic growth rate is minus 2%. It means your economy starts synchronizing. And if your economic growth rate becomes negative for continuously 6 months, then we can say that your economy has fallen into the recessionary phase. Till now, our economy has not fallen down into the recessionary phase. We are going up, up. Although the economic growth rate has been reduced, and the name for the reduction in the economic growth rate for continuously for many months is called as the slowdown. So the name given to that fall in the economic growth, it was a considerable fall in the economic growth was the slowdown. Okay, and not the recession. Okay. So this specific topic really, this specific topic is really a hot topic in the economics debate. Really, it's a very well discussed topic uh, specifically, and that is why, and it's very simple to understand, because each and everyone is always worried about where our economy is. Okay, where our economy is, where it goes in the expansion, recession, depression, whatever. So, you student can raise a question that, sir, if our economic growth rate is becoming negative for continuously 6 months, then only we will have entered into the recession. But never, we haven't never gone through this kind of situation. So what does it mean? it means nothing. But it is important to understand uh, the 1930 situation in the USA. In USA, what happened? In USA in 1930, there was a Great Depression, which was not only a recession, but US economy was fell into the depression. Their GDP was synchronized. Their GDP was reduced considerably, and there was a negative economic growth rate, a huge negative economic growth rate. Outbreak into the huge unemployment and lockouts and very bad phase of the up towards the 1930s Great Depression phase in the USA. So really, this is a very well discussed topic in the economics literature. Now, the recovery. As discussed above, the trough phase, an economy reaches to the lowest level of the shrinking. This lowest level is the limit to which an economy shrinks. Once the economy touches the lowest level, it happens to be the end of the negativism and beginning of positive. So what is the trough? Trough point is a good. It's a good news that we have formed a trough. What is peak? Peak is a bad news that yes, array expansion has been stopped and now we are going to move down. So trough is like a positive period and start of the positivism. And this leads to the reversal of the process of business cycle. As a result, individuals, organizations start developing a positive attitude towards the various economic factors such as investment, employment, production. This process of reversal start from the labor market. Consequently, organizations discontinue laying off individuals and start hiring, but the limited number at this stage wages provided by organizations to individuals is less as compared to their skills and abilities. This marks the beginning of the recovery phase. This marks the beginning of the beginning of expansion. Recovery first starts with added cash balances by declining the lending rate, decreasing investment, various securities and bonds. Similarly, adopting a positive approach, other private investors also start investing in the stock market as a security prices increase and the rate of price mechanism plays a very important role in the recovery phase of economy. As discussed earlier, during recession, the rate at which the price of factor of production fall is greater than the rate of reduction in the prices of final products. So, what is happening here? Look at what is happening in the recovery phase. The recovery phase, in the recovery phase, the bankers start utilizing their accumulated cash balances and by declining the lending rate, they decline their lending rate, and because of the fall in the lending rate, the industrialists start taking loan. Similarly, adopting a positive approach, other private investors also start investing in the stock market. So slowly, the positivism started. The price mechanism is playing very important role. Okay. Oh, because here we have seen that during recession, the rate at which the factor prices of production falls is greater than the reduction in the prices of final product. And therefore, the producers are always able to earn a certain amount of profit. which increases at trough stage. The increase in profit continue the recovery phase. Apart from this, in recovery phase, some of the depreciated capital goods are replaced by producers and some are maintained by them. As a result, investment and employment by organizations increases as this process gains momentum and economy again enters into phase of expansion. So when we have the recovery phase, in this recovery phase, the depreciated capital goods are replaced by producers and some are maintained by them. Okay. So as a result, investment and employment by organizations increase. So in whatever investment and employment we have, the organizations by the organization increases. Okay. So the slowly when the investment and employment is increasing, and when this increase in the investment and employment got the momentum, then automatically the recovery gets converted into the prosperity. So this is what has been explained here in the business sector. Okay. So if you have any question on this topic, please raise your questions. If you want to discuss something on these topics, you are welcome. Yes, Ahmed, anything you want to discuss on this?
No, sir.
Okay, then we can continue. Just okay. So now here there is an end of the module three we have, and now the new topic that we are going to discuss. But before going towards the new topic, I would like to take the review of our syllabus. How much we have completed and how much yet to complete. So economics of agriculture and cooperation. Uh, so cooperation. Syllabus is already given. This is Module 1 classical period. I am saying Karl Marx, Module 2 marginalist, Marshall to Schumpeter. Module 3 Keynesian ideas. So we have completed this Keynesian ideas. Now the Module 4 post-Keynesian development. Okay. Now in the post-Keynesian development, what we have is the study of economists like Hayek is one of them, Friedrich Hayek, Arthur Laffer, then the Milton Friedman, Don Patinkin, Robert Lucas, Amartya Sen, Joseph Stiglitz, Paul Krugman, Jean Tirole, Angus Deaton, and Richard Thaler. Okay, so here in notes you will find the Hayek, Friedrich Hayek has been explained. Then the author Laffer is also there. Then we have Milton Friedman. That no. So what is the question now? Is the in this note, Hayek, Arthur Laffer, and the Milton Friedman is given. Remaining, that is Don Patinkin, Robert Lucas, Amartya Sen, Joseph Stiglitz, Paul Krugman, Jean Tirole, Angus Deaton, and Richard Thaler. So overall, we have 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 economists. Note I will give you separately. Okay, I will give it to you separately. The 8 economists. Okay, so whatever we have first 3 economists that we will discuss here. Topic 1, Hayek. Friedrich A. Hayek. Introduction. F. A. Hayek is Austrian-born British economist, 1899 to 1992. In 1931, Hayek was invited to England's London School of Economics for lecture on the monetary economics. Okay. So the Friedrich Hayek is an Austrian-born British economist. Okay. So the span is 1899. It means at the beginning of the 20th century up to 1992. So long lifetime span, nearly 94 years his lifespan we have. And really the great economist. He was just called in the London School of Economics in 1931 to deliver a lecture on the monetary economics, which that lecture led to his appointment as a professor in the London School of Economics. Only one lecture given by him in the London School of Economics. So tomorrow, so for example, if the Ahmad Reza is being called in the MIT, for delivering a lecture on the particular topic. And if Ahmad Reza deliver such an intellectual lecture in the MIT, that could lead to the appointment of Ahmad Reza as a professor in the MIT. That could happen. And that is what the same coincidence was happened with the Frederick Hayek. So it could be that the Frederick Hayek is Hayek is really that much a worthy person which came out of that lecture delivery. Then the economics of Hayek is well famous for his intellectual debate with the Cambridge economist J.M. Keynes. हाइक का नाम कब आता है? हाइक का नाम जॉन मर्दान केन्स के साथ ही आता है ज्यादातर, क्योंकि जॉन मर्दान केन्स के जो विचार थे उसके बराबर विपरीत विचार हाइक के थे. 1950 Hayek went to University of Chicago, where he spent 12 years in the field of philosophy and social science. His areas of interest are divided into four general categories: the trade cycle theory, economics and knowledge, critique of socialism, and limits of social sciences. And limits of social sciences. Trade cycle theory. So all these four areas we will look at the one by one. Limit of social science. Okay, that is only these four areas has been explained. Okay, that we have to go through. Okay. These economic fluctuations are existing in the form of increase and employment rate. Now, Hayek found that the trade cycles or economic fluctuations arises if the market rate of interest differ from its natural rate of interest. Okay. The trade cycle theory, according to Hayek, trade cycle of business cycle is the level of economic fluctuations in the economy. These economic fluctuations are exist in the form of increase and decrease in the production, employment, wages, inflation, and the interest rate. So just now we have discussed at the end of the third module the cyclical theory of business cycle. That business cycle is nothing but the trade cycle. Another name to the business cycle is a trade cycle. Okay, so our expansion, contraction, that is what they are in the trade cycle. Okay, so this is the area of interest of the Hayek, and here it is written that trade cycle is the level of economic fluctuation in the economy. These economic fluctuations are exist in the form of increase and decrease in the production, employment, wages, inflation, interest rate, etc. Hayek found that the trade cycles or economic fluctuations arises if the market rate of interest differs from the natural rate of interest. The divergence between the market rate and the natural rate of the interest resulted into disorder in financial market. Okay, so the divergence between market rate and the natural rate of interest resulted in disorder in financial market. So there is a disorder in the financial market. Then we have the rate of interest in the financial market reflect the desire of savers and investors, this type of rate of interest is natural rate of interest. Okay. This type of interest rate is the natural rate of interest. Okay. Uh, so here in the trade cycle theory, it is given by the uh, hike that the economic fluctuations arises out of the difference between the market rate of interest and the natural rate of interest. Okay. I think we will discuss this. Okay, total seven. Let's try to focus it and let's try to complete. Okay. So we have the difference between the market rate and the uh, natural rate of interest. Then divergence between market rate and the natural rate of interest resulted into disorder in financial market. Divergence between market rate and the natural rate of interest resulted into disorder in financial market. The rate of interest in the financial market reflect the desire of savers and the investors. This type of rate of interest is the natural rate of interest. But when the rate of interest is reflecting the desire of a speculator, then saver and investor, then financial market interest rate differs from natural interest rate. Okay. So here it is given, the points are given. These points are talking about that फाइनेंशियल मार्केट में नेचुरल रेट और मार्केट रेट डाइवर्जेंस होने के कारण आ जाती है यहाँ पे बताया गया है कि फाइनेंशियल मार्केट का जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है जिसमें सेवर्स की एंड इन्वेस्टर की डिजायर दिखती है वो नेचुरल रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है लेकिन जिसमें स्पेकुलेटर्स की ज्यादा डिजायर दिखती है सेवर्स और इन्वेस्टर से वो जो है फाइनेंशियल मार्केट इंटरेस्ट जो है वो फिर डिफर हो जाता है नेचुरल रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ओके सही बात है यहाँ पे हेजर्स एंड स्पेकुलेटर्स ये दो क्लास होते हैं इन्वेस्टर्स हेजर्स मतलब जिनको जरूरत है वो जब इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो उनको हेजर्स कहते हैं और जिनको प्रॉफिट कमाने के इरादे से जो शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए परचेस करते हैं सेल करते हैं उनको स्पेकुलेटर्स कहते हैं स्पेकुलेटर कहते हैं ठीक है तो जैसे कि शेयर मार्केट का एग्जांपल दें आईपीओज में शेयर हमने लेने के बाद वो शेयर जो है हम सेल करते हैं राइट हम सेल करते हैं और उस कहाँ सेल करते हैं शेयर मार्केट में सेल करते हैं तो कोई नए लोग उसको खरीदते हैं अगर समझो मैंने कुछ शेयर्स सेल किए और वो शेयर्स जो है राम ने परचेस किए ओके शेयर्स सोल्ड बाय मी परचेस बाय राम ओके राम ने वो परचेस क्यों किए राम परचेस दैट शेयर फॉर अर्निंग अ डिविडेंड उसने वो डिविडेंड उस पे अर्न करने के लिए परचेस किया Now, at the same time, the Siddharth also purchased the share. When Siddharth purchased a share, Siddharth purchased for the short term. Why Siddharth purchased? Because today I will buy it at 350. Tomorrow, when the price will become 360, I will sell it. Okay. So the RAM reason behind the purchase of share is the investing into that share for long term and earning dividend. But the Siddharth reason behind the share purchase is to sell it whenever the price of share increases and earn profit. So Siddharth intention is to earn a profit, and the RAM intention is to earn a dividend on the share. And that is why the Ram is called as the hedger and Siddharth is called as a speculator. So when in the market, whenever we have only people like Ram, like hedgers, I'm just taking a hypothetical example, like hedgers, then the market is in good condition. It means the market is in natural rate. And when the people like Siddharth, who are the speculators, increases and their influence increase beyond the people like Ram, then the speculators get a heavyweight in the market, and because of these speculators, the natural rate of interest differs from the market. So the prices of share, and in this example, the price of share will not become natural. Now the price of share will reflect the speculators' impact, and that is what the hike said, that it is different than the natural rate of interest. So this is what I wanted to discuss for the introduction of this this economist Frederick Hayek. So today we'll stop here, and the ILE student will meet me in the ILE class. So thank you all of you, and have a great day.